Welcome to True Stories Night. I'm Lamide Akintobi. On True Stories Night, we take real stories as told on Classic Moments with Mo and see how they apply to our lives today. Tonight, we're riffing off a classic episode titled Laying It Bare, in which we heard about various challenges with having children, from infertility to miscarriages, adoption, and more. Infertility affects about 10 to 15% of couples of reproductive age. But here in sub-Saharan Africa, research shows that 20 to 46% of couples deal with fertility issues. In fact, WHO found that across sub-Saharan Africa exists a so-called infertility belt, which includes Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon, the DRC, Central African Republic, Chad, Burundi, Uganda, and Kenya. Meanwhile, studies claim that for those who do manage to conceive, about 30% of those pregnancies end in miscarriage. So first, let's hear from two fertility experts who shared common reasons for miscarriages.
A miscarriage can be considered either to occur in the first trimester, which is the first 3 months of pregnancy, or in the second trimester. If it's in the first trimester, unfortunately, even when we do very sophisticated tests, it's very rare that we find out any cause. So what is thought is that actually a miscarriage in the first trimester, that's before 12 weeks, is usually just a way of nature making sure you have a normal child. Okay. Because the way a pregnancy forms, if it starts to develop abnormally, then nature shuts it off and then it expels it so that you can have another pregnancy. Okay. However, if you're having 3 or more of those first trimester miscarriages, that's called a recurrent miscarriage, then there might be a chance that there may be a small abnormality, such as a chromosomal problem. If the husband and the wife have chromosomal disparity, then it could manifest in miscarriages. But these are very rare. So the vast majority of people having miscarriages, less than 3 miscarriages in the first trimester, there's usually nothing wrong. And the vast majority eventually go ahead and take a pregnancy to term. However, if the miscarriage occurs in the mid-trimester, which is after 12 weeks, then there could be something wrong. The most common in our environment is something called cervical incompetence, where the cervix is a bit weak. So as the pregnancy starts to get big, the weight of the pregnancy opens the cervix and it starts to dilate, and you lose the pregnancy.
In many cultures across Africa and beyond, the value of a woman is often tied to her role as a mother, with both self-imposed and external pressure adding to the burden. So it's not difficult to see how a perceived inability to do this can lead to emotional and/or psychological issues such as stress, anxiety, and even depression.
Here's what studies claim. Almost 50% of infertility patients report high levels of depression or anxiety even prior to their first doctor's visit. Studies have also found that the emotional stresses women with infertility face are similar to HIV, cancer, and cardiac patients.
After the break, we hear the personal stories of 2 women who had challenges conceiving. Welcome back. The journey to motherhood is different for every woman. Here are 2 women who shared their true stories.
The first time it was like 3 months.
You were 3 months and then it happened.
It happened.
Okay,
So
all right.
the pregnancy was inviable. It stopped growing.
Okay,
So
the baby stopped growing.
Yeah, it was the hormone.
Okay.
That wasn't in good quantity.
Okay.
Then I think the second time it was just like 7 weeks.
So the second time you were 7 weeks.
Yeah, 7 weeks.
But
And
by
it
the
was
time
still-
the time you were 7 weeks, you now had good medical care. Yeah.
I didn't.
The second time you still didn't.
So it was afterwards. I did some tests and all that. So I think it was then I got to know it was some hormones that were not enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of support, I mean, I think it's important. I mean, that we have support when we're going through something like this. You know, I mean, your husband is supportive, I hope.
Very, very supportive.
Yeah? And your in-laws, because in-laws can also sometimes be dragons in situations like this.
My in-laws are very supportive
Very good.
too.
That's good.
My husband doesn't even see it like anything is happening.
But in your private moments, you know, how do you feel?
There's sometimes you feel there's something I'm not doing. And some other times, you know, when you serve a living God, everything is possible.
Yeah, you do serve a living God.
So
I mean,
I know I serve a
as a
living God,
Christian,
and I know,
you know,
at His own time. Because at the end of the day, how would you feel if you have a child and at the end of the day, the baby comes out abnormal.
Exactly.
And you have to lock the baby indoors. So.
Gender selection technologies have been banned in 6 countries, including China, Canada, and Australia. It's also opposed by the United Nations and the World Health Organization when used for non-medical reasons. Now, here with me is Dr. Sonia of South Shore Women's Clinic to shed a little bit more light on this, this sort of controversial topic. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
So why is it that it's such a problematic issue for some countries who have banned this whole gender selection therapies or technology?
Well, because there's a lot of ethics concerned, you know, so it's like people are worried that, okay, if we say, I want to have a baby, oh, I want a girl, and then I make sure I get a girl, and then next year, oh, maybe I should have 3 girls, you know, maybe I should have 2 boys, you know, maybe a girl with green eyes, you know, maybe a girl with, you know, so it's almost as if, are we sure we aren't crossing a line, you know, and you know, with medicine, you always want to be careful that you are not, let me say, playing at God, you know, something. So that's, you know, that's kind of where, because that's where the science is leading up to now. So I can decide I want a slim girl with big hips, you know, things like that. So
can you do that? I mean, is technology...
Not yet that we know,
okay,
but, you know, that's where it's heading to that. So if it's not because maybe there is an ailment in the family or this child is going to have struggle, there's a risk that the child will struggle through life, and I don't want to bring a child into the world, you know, just to do that. I can avoid the pain maybe that I've been through or someone in my family has been through, you know. But if it's just because, oh wow, I just want a boy, you know, it's kind of risky as to where is it going to end.
So what is it about the process, I guess, that some people find ethically challenging? Is it the actual selection in itself, or is it the, what do I call it? I don't know if I should say discarding of eggs or of cells, or I'm not quite sure what the terms may be, of the ones that are not what you want.
Yes, so that's, I think that there are levels of disagreement. So let me put it that way. So for example, like with contraception, you know, where some people favor some kinds of contraception as people don't. It's like with things like abortion, where people feel, oh, I'm a pro-life, it's a baby, it's not a baby, you know. So there are different levels. So there's a thought that, okay, so you've had egg, sperm, you know, you've put it together, you have your embryos, and I check, oh, this one is a boy. I don't want boys. Some people say, okay, but that is a life.
Yes.
Even at that early stage. And so you're going to deliberately discard 1, 2, 3, 4 lives. Not because there's something wrong with them. So that's a potential human being tomorrow.
Right.
Or because you just think, oh, you know what? I don't want a boy. I just want a girl. Or, you know, things like that. So.
I see. So do you think that it's a good thing or a bad thing that because of this, the whole reproductive tourism industry is now growing? Because you find people in these countries that are, you know, where these gender selection technologies have been banned, going to countries where it's actually legal, and then deciding, well, okay, yeah, I do want, maybe I've had 5 girls and I want a boy, and maybe I've never, I just want what it is that I want. What do you think about the growth of reproductive tourism?
Well, the thing is that, yes, in spite of it being banned, honestly, my personal opinion is that some countries are always going to say, okay, it's okay. And then, you know, the way the world grows, you know, it's like the world just keeps evolving. So what was not okay 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, all of a sudden, we're all cool with it, you know. So I think that that's the way it always starts. So if I live in a place where something I do or something I want is not offered, and I know if I cross the border or if I go to this country, I can get it done. Sometimes legal, sometimes kind of illegal, but if nobody catches me, you know, it's fine. So it will keep on going and people will keep traveling, and then at some point, I presume, it's going to be okay. That's just my personal opinion.
And in your opinion, what do you think that people should be thinking about now in terms of having children in the future? Because statistics have shown now that people are choosing to get married later, or even if they get married early, they're choosing to delay, you know, childbirth. What are the things that you think couples or whoever they may be, you know, should think about, considering that things are now changing? Nobody's getting married at 18 and having kids by the time they're 20 anymore. What are the things people need to have in their mind?
Well, first of all, everyone needs to be healthy. So if you have, you know, the practice of regular medicals is not really common here. So but if you're having regular medicals, you know, you're making sure that everything else is, you're healthy, like baseline, you know, that will help. And then secondly, if something comes up, treat it. It's easy. I think this is easier for ladies, you know, than for men, because with men, the main thing is having a sperm analysis, and, you know, few people want to just go and, I just want to have my sperm analyzed. Okay, it's fine, you know, I'll come back next year to check. But if you're keeping healthy, you're going to reduce the chances of something cropping up. And then if you really mean to, so I've gone to have a sperm test done and it shows that, okay, there's an issue. Do I want to get it sorted out now? Do I want to take the risk of leaving it? It's a difficult call if you don't want to have children now. We don't really have the practice of banking sperm. So in other countries, you can just say, look, now I'm not ready, but in the meantime, please keep my sperm somewhere and I'll come back to it later. You don't really have that option easily here or legally that I know of, you know.
Okay.
So, but really, that's just it. Keep healthy. That's the basic thing. And if something comes up, you know, don't put your head in the sand. Treat it, you know, and get it over and done with.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Well, with all that we've seen and what we've heard today, there are many, many issues to tackle when we talk about challenges with having children, from societal pressure, cultural expectations, ethical concerns, and much, much more. There's always much more to talk about, but for now, we're going to leave this here and hope that we've given you something to think about. See you next week with another true story.